Hello, this is Melissa with the Stamping Ninja. Today I have this pretty Feel Better Soon card for you. It is made with the new Flowers of Beauty stamp set that is in the 2024-2025 annual catalog and the matching dies. I have done it with one of the new in colors this year, and that is this pretty green right here called Shamrock. So for this card, you are going to need the Flowers of Beauty bundle, but you're also going to need the mini pocket envelope for this little crumb cake envelope right here, and the Wanted to Say dies, which is where this sentiment came from. So you will find a list of everything that you need down below in the description of this video, but I will also go over them here. You're going to need a 4x5 1/4 piece of basic white cardstock, a scrap sheet of basic white cardstock, a piece of crumb cake that you have cut out the mini pocket envelope with, a 2" by 4" piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock, 2 of these greenery die cuts in shaded spruce, and those are from the Flowers of Beauty dies, a small piece of Shamrock for your sentiment, a piece of the foam adhesive sheet to go with that little piece of Shamrock, so that way our sentiment is popped up, and then a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of Shamrock scored at 4 1/4. Also, before I forget, you are going to need an embossing folder that I used on here, and that one that I'm using is the painted texture. So to begin, we are going to fold and burnish our score line with our bone folder here, so make it nice and crisp. Just kind of get that out of the way so that we're ready to decorate it. So the first thing we're going to do here after that is we're going to work on this background piece. So you'll need your 4x5 1/4" piece. And we're going to I'm going to move this card base for a minute. Keep that one here so you can still see it. We're going to take this small little strip of flowers from the Flowers of Beauty dies. There are actually 2 of them. One has bigger flowers than these, so we're going to use the small one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on top of my die, trying to center it so the flowers are going to be even, which is really kind of hard to do. It just barely fits between those 2 flowers. You might have a little bit of an overhang. Had some overhang on this one, so I'm trying to line it up a little bit better. And it's probably going to put it like 1/4 inch from the bottom edge. So I don't know if you can see, it's about 1/4 inch, and I've got my flowers centered. So I'm just going to take a piece of removable tape. You can also use a Post-it note or something of that sort to hold it in place. So I'm just going to put this on the back. I'll make sure it's straight first. I don't want it crooked. And we're going to run that through our cut and emboss machine. Okay, so I ran mine through. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Precisely why you use removable tape there. You can save those little flowers for something later, another project. And remove my tape here. And then, let's see if I can get those little flowers out. Yeah, doesn't matter. we're going to do the same thing again. Going to move it up just a little bit. I'm flipping it over so I can center my flowers right in between. And it's probably, I would guess, about 1/8 of an inch up from this flower line. Flip it over so you can see exactly how far it is from the flower line there. And put my tape back on there, and I'm going to run it through a second time. Okay, so I have run it through a second time. Remove that little bar there. Save my flowers. Just gonna swipe them off to the side there. And then after you have those done, you're going to sandwich this piece in the painted texture embossing folder. Oops, make sure I get it in there. I guess it doesn't matter if it's straight really, because it's such a random pattern. And we're going to run this through our machine. Okay, so I have run it through. So now we have some texture and we have some cutouts here. And now we are going to adhere this blue piece behind it. So there's a little bit of space around the edge. I'm just going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to put just a little bit up here at the top and a little bit down here at the bottom. So that way I don't have to worry about my glue squirting out anywhere. And then we're going to line that up at the bottom there so that nothing sticks out, but you can see the blue. There's just a little bit on the edges, but can't really do anything about that unless you make your paper smaller. All right, so now we're going to attach this to our card base. Same way, using multi-purpose liquid glue. I like that it gives you the ability to slide it around and line it up where you want it before it's stuck in place. So it can always be a little sloppy there in the beginning, and I can just move it around to get it where I want it to be before it dries. So that's our card base. And now we are going to work on our mini pocket envelope. For this guy, it has a fold line right here in the center. So you're just going to fold that. And then you can see these fold lines here, and there's one here, and they are small. So we're going to go ahead and fold those over and fold the one at the bottom. And then I'm going to take my bone folder again and burnish those lines so that we get them nice and crisp and even. And all right, so with those folded over, I'm going to take my multi-purpose liquid glue again, and I'm just going to add small tiny amounts here. As you can see, I'm kind of smearing it around a little bit because I don't want big globs of it, otherwise it'll just ooze out the sides and make a mess. So I've got my glue on there. I'm just gonna fold it down. Oops. And mine did not line up perfectly. So just gonna move it around a little bit to get it to line up. Hopefully yours lined up like it was supposed to. There. So I'm gonna go it a little bit off, but we saved it. So now you should have a little tiny pocket like that. Makes a wonderful little gift card holder too. All right. So now we're going to focus on our little die cut here. This little one right here. We're going to go ahead and glue this right up here. So what I'm doing is the center of this little green piece, I'm actually putting in the center of my card, and then I'm just turning it just a little bit so that I give you an idea where it goes. You just don't want it extending past the top of your card, otherwise you won't be able to get it in an envelope. So just going to add little specks of glue here and there, little spots. Doesn't have to be perfect because the majority of this is going to be covered. And I'm not going to put glue up here at the end. I rarely ever do that for my die cut flower pieces because I like to have them loose up at the top so they're not, I don't know if you can see it, this one, so they're not plastered down. That way it gives them a little bit of depth and dimension. So I'm putting this in the center and then turning it just a little bit, making sure it's up there at the top. So stick that right on there. And then I'm going to take my mini pocket envelope and put some glue on the back of it. And it's going to go on here diagonally. Trying to center it a little bit so that there's equal distance here at the bottom and equal distance up here at the top. But I also don't want it too crooked, so just angle just a little bit, like so. All right, now we're going to focus on our stamping. So I'm going to set this to the side and I'm going to bring out that scrap piece of paper that I have, obviously scrap, I got some ink on it. We're going to stamp our flowers and these little green, I guess they're flowers back here, stems with some flowers. So you're going to need the following ink colors. You need Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lolly, Misty Moonlight, Shaded Spruce. Actually, I take that back. You don't need Shaded Spruce. That was for an experiment. We don't need that. Shamrock. So 4 colors. And I am going to start with the Lemon Lolly and the small flower. So we're going to be using this one right here and this one right here. So I'm going to start with, actually I'm going to start with the outline, which means I'm going to need my Daffodil Delight. Sorry, doing it backwards here. So Daffodil Delight and the outline of that small flower. So I'm just going to stamp the outline twice because I need 2 flowers. And now I'm going to use my Lemon Lolly to do the shaded portion of it. Make sure I have it the right way. And the way that is actually supposed to go is this little notch up here. You can see it, this little notch where that opening is there's another, this other flower has a notch in that same flower. So those 2 line up. Hope that made sense. So now I'm just going to stamp my Lemon Lolly, line it up with my outline. And same for this guy. There we go. Got my 2 yellow flowers. All right. And now I'm going to do my Misty Moonlight flowers. And that is these 2 large ones right here. So open that up. And the same, I'm going to start with the outline. And I'm just going to stamp 2 of those. So 2 flowers with the outline. And then I'm going to do the inside part. I'm going to use Misty Moonlight again, except I'm going to stamp off. So stamping off, I'm just going to stamp on my scrap paper here 1 time. And then I'm going to stamp again. So same color, just lighter. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stamp off and then stamp again. And those are my 2 Misty Moonlight flowers. I'm just going to clean off my stamp here real quick. The blues tend to make your photopolymer stamps pink, so take that off as soon as I can. All right, and now we are going to need Shy Shamrock. Such a pretty color, green. Very bright and vibrant and perfect when you want to wish somebody well. So we're going to be using the 2 long stemmed flowers here. And this is the one with the detail, and you can tell it has detail because of the lines on the leaves. So they both have leaves. One is just kind of flat, and the other one you can definitely see the outline of the veining in the leaves. So we're going to need 2 of these, and they actually do fit on your stamp pad diagonally. So you can ink it up evenly. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that one. And then we're going to do a second one. And I'm going to put that right here. Oh, I've got a little teeny tiny little gnat crawling around on my stamp. All right. No more though. He gave up his life. So, all right, now we're going to do the shaded one. So same thing. We're going to ink that shaded one up, and we're going to stamp off like we did that blue flower. So stamp off over on the side, and then we're going to line these up. It's kind of hard to do with my camera there. And stamp again. So you have the dark shaded spruce and the light shaded spruce. And we're going to do it a second time. Going to stamp off. And then we're going to go over it again. Do we get up? The easiest way to line this one up is by the leaves. So we just want to make sure you got them all lined up. And there we go. There is our Shy Shamrock. All right, and now we are going to go back to Daffodil Delight. And we're going to stamp some flowers on top of here. So for that, you'll need these 2 flower pieces. This one right here and this one right here. And for Daffodil Delight, we're using the one with the little detailed flowers. And I have the 3 tiny little flowers up at the top and the larger one down at the bottom. So inking up my Daffodil Delight. And I don't think there is really a place, I'm just gonna move that out of my way, a place where these flowers actually go. So you kind of just gotta put them where you think is best. So just gonna stamp my flowers there. And I'll probably try to do it around the same spot for this one. There we are. So we're done with Daffodil Delight, and now I'm going back to Lemon Lolly. I'm going to use that other flower one, again with the 3 small flowers up at the top. Inking up the Lemon Lolly, and these just go right over those little flowers centers that you just stamped. And Lemon Lolly is definitely bright, but pairing it with the Daffodil Delight kind of tones it down just a little bit. So those are all of our flowers. And now we need to crop those out with the dies. So I'll have my dies up here, hiding out of the way. So we're going to go crop those out. Okay, so we got all our flowers cropped out here. Oops, little piece stuck in there. And now we're going to, oops, not that card. Back to the other card we're working on here. Kind of buried it. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to have you crop out your sentiment. So you're going to need your small piece of Shamrock and your foam adhesive tape. You're going to remove one of these pieces here, or one of these covers, put it on that piece like so, and then you're going to take your die, I already have this one, and you're going to put it on this side. So your adhesive foam tape is on the opposite side here. And run it through your machine several times because it does take a while to go through there. And I found what I did is I just took a scrap piece of paper, loaded it in my machine like normal, and then I put the paper on there and then ran it through, and it was enough pressure to where you can really see the outline. Doesn't necessarily have to cut through this backside, but you really do need to see the outline to know that it went in deep enough and that it cut it, because this die right here is so fine that it's a little difficult to get out of there. So I'm just going to set that there for now. But you'll want to have that cut out and ready to go. Actually, we can just remove the die. It's kind of stuck in there. There. So yours should look like that. All right, now back to the flowers. You're going to need that other piece of shaded spruce die cut here, and we're going to load all these flowers inside of here. So using my multi-purpose liquid glue again, I'm just going to put some glue here on the back side of this die cut. Doesn't have to be pretty. All this is going to be on the inside, but I'm just putting enough so that I know it'll hold. I'm going to lift up excuse me, this pocket a little bit and slide this in there. Down to where this piece will fit on the card. Just give it a little tap to hold it in place there. And then I'm going to do the same thing to our stamped little vines here with leaves and flowers. Putting some glue on the back of it. I'll slide it right in there. That was interesting. I didn't have any problem sliding the last one. Just wanted to get stuck. Oops. Hopefully yours did not get stuck. I'm not sure why that happened. It should slide in there without any difficulty. It's just getting stuck down at the bottom. Tell you what, I'm just going to use my bone folder and see why it's doing that. Yeah, there's nothing there. Interesting. Try it again. Oh, there we go. So yours should slide down there with no problem. But if it does get stuck, you can always just do what I did with the bone folder. Open it back up. Oops. Bent my little thing. All right. I said I don't put glue on the back of there, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to show you my little trick for that. I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper and just put a little bit of glue on the end. Not a whole lot. Just kind of smear it around so it's a thin layer. And then I'm going to lift this up, put a little bit of glue on the back side, and then I'm going to glue that down. Normally don't, but otherwise it's going to tear. That's how I put glue on the back without getting it all over. All right, back to this one. So I'm going to put glue on the back side again. I'm going to slide it down in there. And I'm moving this one down a little bit so that they're kind of staggered. Like so. Then I have my yellow one here. Teeny tiny little yellow flower. Let's see, I'll do it this way. And this one is just kind of go right up here in the corner, actually. Something like that. I'm just tucking in. Oops. Just barely tucking it in that corner. And then my blue flower. This one's going to get tucked in. Oh, right there. So all of our flowers are tucked in this little pocket. Got a little bit of glue on my fingers, a little sticky. All right. So now we're going to go back to this guy. And I wish there was a great way for me to tell you how to get this out of there, but I can only show you what I do. I'm just kind of loosening it up and make sure that it's not attached. So I kind of do that anytime I use a script type of die. Just loosening it up to make sure that everything's not stuck together. Then I took my take your pick tool. It's perfect for this. And I tried to get all those little pieces out. So just gonna pull those little pieces out that we don't need. These are just inside the E's. I found it was easier to do it while it was still attached to the paper and to the adhesive. So just taking out all these extra center pieces that we don't need. And one there. Because this sentiment is so fragile, if you don't do it this way, there's a good chance you can tear it, rip it, get it out of shape, and that is not what we want. Just gonna lift that out of there. I can't remove those, but I'm just lifting them to make sure that they don't stay stuck to those E's. Same with another little area right here between the E and the R. That one can come out. I'm lifting that one. So if anybody has a better idea of how to get all these delicate words out of the foam adhesive sheet better than what I'm doing here, I would love to hear it. If you could, please just put it in the comments down below, because I'm always looking for a better way to do something. This is a little time consuming, but I think we got all of our areas lifted that we need to. Getting that little piece out of the S. So I think we are ready to pull this out. So I'm just going to tear this as I'm pulling it out. And I'm pulling this big piece off because it's sticky like this. And when you're handling this tiny little skinny words, it sticks to your fingers and you pull it off and there's a good chance you can rip it. So we're going to pull this sticky mess off first to reduce our chances of actually tearing our sentiment. And since we lifted those little sections by the E's, it just comes right off of there, which is awesome. There we go. Actually, I missed one right there. Take this one out. There. So now we just have our sentiment. And now you can pull that off. and not have to worry about it sticking to everything, well, except for that top letter right there, the F. There, came off in one piece. So this guy is going to go, it's very fragile, very, very fragile. It's going to go over here to our left side. Unstick it from my finger. There, just want to make sure it's all stuck on there. And another thing you can do with your take your pick tool, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see little pieces of adhesive here that are along the edges of the die cuts. And what I did is I just took my take your pick tool and I just kind of went around this and kind of squashed those little hairs. I don't know if you want to call them hairs, but they're just little tiny slivers of adhesive that are sticking out. So I didn't want them to look all fuzzy and unprofessional. So just kind of ran my take your pick tool over them and it squashed them down. So, oops, right there. Just gives it a cleaner appearance. All right, so now that's on there, we're going to attach our last two flowers. So for the yellow one, just using regular multi-purpose liquid glue. And just trying to duplicate what I have over here. So I'm gonna put that about right there. Maybe, there we go. So it's sticking up over the edge a little bit, and this petal is close to the L. Go right there. Now for this one, I'm going to attach a Stampin' Dimensional, just one, to the back of this right side. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I put it over here, this piece is sticking up a little bit and I want it to be even. So a dimensional behind the right side and a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue on the left. So you're going to remove that cover, and this is going to go over here. Oops, make sure I keep it on the card. Just like that. So since we put that dimensional on there, it's setting even with this piece, and that's what we want. And now to finish it, I'm using the brushed, oh, I can't even say it, sorry, the brushed brass butterflies. That is a tongue twister for sure. And I have some of mine here. I've had them for a while, so I just took them out of my package. But I don't know if you can see. This one and this one are very shiny. I actually polished them up where these other ones are very dull. So I noticed that my butterflies were getting tarnished. So what I did is I happen to have some of this cleaner for jewelry, gold and silver, which actually takes some of the tarnish off. So I grabbed me one of those little wipes and just cleaned them off, and you can see all that was just from my butterflies. So if yours are getting tarnished, you can take one of those little wipes, and I held it with my take your pick tool. So I held it with my left hand like this, and then just used my little wipes to wipe them off. But I got all that tarnish off. So a little tip for you in case yours get tarnished. So I'm going to use a large butterfly right down here, and then switch to my small ones here. I have a couple that I wiped off. That one's going to go that way. And then my last little one, I'm going to put over here to the left to balance them out. Whoops, so tiny and sticking to my fingers. Like that. And that is our Feel Better Soon card. I hope you liked it, and if you would, please give me a thumbs up Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.